Over this past weekend, a gigantic new game just dropped, and yeah, you can say that it's a Marvel game, okay? Of course if it's gonna do good. Well, we're releasing a game right now with the absolute lowest point that Marvel has ever been at, okay? If they would have released this a little bit closer to Deadpool and Wolverine, I think it might have had a little bit more of a hope to catch some of that Marvel wave, but at this point in Phase 5, after how poorly Phase 4 performed, and now how everybody's finally appropriately looking back at that and going, oh wow, that was a disaster. Well, you know what? A lot of Phase 5 wasn't a lot of wins that were wrapped up in there with Ant-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy breaking even, and then the Marvels. Remember the Marvels came out this time last year? Yeah, exactly. They're still out there trying to wring every last red cent out of that, but when it comes to the video game space, Marvel's kind of missed the boat when it came to that stuff, all right? Because they had that Avengers game that closed in 18 months, one of the first of many disasters of Square Enix leading them to leave the Western gaming market. But remember, there's this Midnight Suns game that's out there. Does anybody recall any of that? And oh yeah, just having a superhero team or a collective of superheroes in a game doesn't necessarily mean that you're destined for success. So yeah, this Rivals game, this Marvel Rivals game, which I've seen a little bit of gameplay of. I've seen some clips run around, and yeah, characters look good. Like, just a simple animation, that's all I'm talking about on this one. But the UI and the gameplay is just, I don't know, simultaneously it looks way too sweaty and just way too hectic for me, okay? I do love me a third-person shooter, but then at the same time, bro, that's just way too wild, way too crazy for me to really care. I haven't downloaded it, even though it's a free as all get out, and you can just go ahead and play whatever character you want, maybe potentially, but then you can just support the game by buying skins. That's what all of these free-to-play games do, which ultimately, yeah, instead of just placing an artificial price point, they just go ahead and say, the taste is free, but then after that, then they start to get you. So yeah, 10 million players over this weekend across a multitude of platforms. This is fantastic news because guess what? People are playing it. People tend to like it. So just reading this statement, in just 72 hours, we've reached an incredible milestone of 10 million players worldwide. We want to extend our heartfelt thanks to each and every one of you. Let's ignite the battle together. Wow, it's just really refreshing. And I understand that it's easier to be a magnanimous winner as opposed to a gracious loser, but there's no divisive rhetoric. There's not, oh, we're just so happy that of the 10 million players, this percentage is female, this percentage is them, we have this many black players, this many Latinx players. No, it's just none of that stuff. It's, hey, 10 million people have checked out a free-to-play game. We're happy you're enjoying it. Let's go get another couple rounds in. Like, it's wonderful to see, man, and where it's flourishing, especially right now, and I'm recording this in the dead of the night on Monday, okay, into early Tuesday morning, and you still have over 250,000 people playing this game. It's huge. It's the biggest hit that we're having in the late stages of 2024. Beyond a shadow of a doubt. And just earlier, right, like it says, you know, in the past 24-hour peak, when I had this pulled up, it was real close to that 460,000 players, which is wonderful to see. Even though the game is made by a bunch of dirty commies, and ultimately at the end of the day, Disney's going to be getting a chunk of this stuff. But when you give the people what they want, guess what? You get rewarded, even though you're slowly but surely killing the entertainment industry by seceding more ground to verse of Chinese. But I digress, okay? It's easier to get behind something like this that at least hopes pave the way for something great in the indie space, or even just from other developers not wanting to face a similar fate to that of, oh, I don't know, a little company called Ubisoft, but we'll talk about them tomorrow. I just simply ran out of topics. I'm sorry, spaces. I didn't run out of topics. Oh boy, for this being the last couple of weeks of the year, normally the news cycle just tends to taper down a little bit. Holy crap, there's a lot of news breaking right now. Like, there's all of the real political stuff that's going on right now, especially Syria, Assad, Daniel Penny, thank God, ended up getting acquitted on all counts. There's a bunch of stuff that I wanted to talk about, but nothing more so than seeing a terrible game. Okay, it's not that it was just woke. It's not that it was just a Sweet Baby Inc. Patient Zero, the Kickstart Gamergate 2 or whatever it was at the beginning of the year. No, it's Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was an awful game. It was awful. Its gameplay was trash, its UI was offensive, its dialogue was AIDS, and its characters should have died of it. This is a game that we've been tracking since its release in February, and now we can put it to bed before the end of the year. What do I mean by that? Well, we got this update on Season 4, and it's so funny. They waited all the way until the end of their run to finally release a character, a male character, and a character that people recognize. It's so funny that they had to wait for that long to not release a subverted character. It's time to sharpen your swords as Season 4, Episode 7, Control is almost upon us, with Deathstroke joining the Suicide Squad as a new playable character, offline mode functionality, and a new Elseworld to explore, and plenty of gear to discover. Let's take a closer look at what Season 4 has to offer. An offline mode, well, that's interesting. It's kind of strange that it took them this long, especially when you have that campaign, which, shout out to Mahler for actually dragging himself all the way through that stuff. So yeah, I could have an informed position on this instead of just going, it's woke and it's bad. No. It's so much worse than that. We talked about an offline mode coming to the game, and we're pleased to make this an option available as part of a Season 4, Episode 7 release on December 10th. So yeah, if you manage to pick up the game for $3 or $5, depending on where you live, you can go ahead and finally play this. As of today, in fact, good for you. Offline mode will allow you to experience content released for the game, including the main story campaign and all seasonal story mission content. Oh boy, if you want to play as gay Joker, gay Mrs. Freeze, gay Deathstroke's daughter. Wait a minute, I thought they're just releasing Deathstroke. That's a different one, that's fine. You can go ahead and do that all you want. It's so great. All earned and purchased cosmetics will also be available for the offline mode. Well, that's fantastic. Deathstroke, yes. Slade Wilson, Deathstroke is a cold-blooded mercenary, available December 10th. And then, wait, what? With Deathstroke joining the roster, Suicide Squad's crusade against Brainiac is drawing to an end. No, you had 13 planned seasons that you were very proud to announce at the conclusion of your story month. You had all of this stuff planned out. Season 4 will finish up with Episode 8, which is scheduled to release in January of 2025 and will serve as the last seasonal episode for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Oh no! Rocksteady confirms it's pulling the plug on new Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League content after Season 4. Couldn't even last the year, bro. Even with the final release of content. Because you remember, this came out, I think it was on leap year day, wasn't it? Didn't it come out on the 28th? Or the 29th, rather? Or maybe that was full release, and then early access was, the Thursday before, because that's what we're doing now, paywalling off release dates. God, the games industry can't die quickly enough. Rocksteady is pulling the plug on new content for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League after Season 4 in January of 2025. Rocksteady revealed in their official blog, which we read right there. While Rocksteady doesn't plan to release any new content, Suicide Squad will remain playable offline, which is why they released that. It's like, hey, you can play it whenever you want because we're shutting down the servers because this shit is costing us way too much to upkeep for a game. That cost Warner Brothers, say it with me again, $200 million. That was their loss. They pumped $400 million into this, and then they ended up losing $200. Elsewhere, Rocksteady said Suicide Squad will remain available for purchase, and that its in-game store will continue to function after Season 4, along with its in-game Luther coin currency. So yeah, if you want to continue to support this absolute disaster area, feel free to do so. Which this used to be the way that games were released. They were released complete, ready to go, and you could continue to support them because hell, Red Dead Redemption 2 is still out there, and you can buy those gold bars. Grand Theft Auto 5, you can still buy those shark cards for it. That's a game that's 12 years old. And it's still getting consistent updates. Meanwhile, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, leveraging DC characters, which is why it is such a stark contrast to take a look at, this game. With everything at the ready, with a distinguished studio behind it. Bro, this was Rocksteady. This was the Arkham Batman guys. And you're shutting down your live service game less than a year from release. And you're getting your ass kicked by a free-to-play Chinese hero shooter, showing the wider industry that, I guess hero shooters after Concord failed. Maybe hero shooters aren't really it. Maybe the superhero trend, superhero fatigue has come over to gaming. That's why Suicide Squad failed. You make stuff that people want to play with characters that actually look like somebody that you would want to use, and you end up reaping those rewards. This isn't rediscovering the wheel. This isn't rubbing sticks together and uncovering the magic of fire. It is simple listening to your audience, taking the temperature in the room, and just doing this little thing that the gaming industry used to be pretty good at, okay? Doing something fun. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.